I am Jennifer. I am 29 years old. I was already crying when I said I loved him for the last time. I did not know that love could end while the person was still standing in front of me. I only knew that something inside me was closing and I could not stop it. I remember thinking, this is the moment I will carry for the rest of my life. I did not understand it then. We were in my kitchen. The light was too bright. The coffee on the table was cold. He was talking, but his voice sounded far away, like it was behind a wall. I watched his mouth move. I tried to hold on to his words. They slipped from me. Everything slipped from me. That was not the hardest part. I met him 3 years earlier on a quiet morning. I was late for work. I spilled coffee on my shirt. I was angry at the world. He was standing in line behind me. He smiled when I turned around. It was a small smile. It was slow and warm. For a second, my anger stopped. He said, "Rough morning?" I nodded. That was all. But something inside me softened. Soft. I did not know a simple smile could feel like a hand reaching into my chest. We started talking after that. Small messages, small jokes, nothing big, nothing dramatic. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself I was just enjoying the attention. I did not understand it then. My days changed in quiet ways. I woke up and checked my phone before I stood up. I smiled at messages on the bus. I watched the clock at work. Time moved slow when I waited for him. It moved fast when I was with him. He noticed small things about me, the way I twisted my ring when I was nervous, the way I drank coffee too fast, the way I avoided eye contact when I was sad. No one had ever watched me like that. No one had ever looked at me like I was important. I felt seen. I felt chosen. That feeling is dangerous. I would only realize the truth later. We built a routine. Friday dinners, Sunday walks, messages every night. My apartment started to feel like our apartment. His jacket stayed on my chair. His toothbrush stood next to mine. These were small objects, but they felt like promises. I trusted those objects more than words. Sometimes he was quiet. Sometimes his phone lit up and he turned it face down. I noticed. Of course I noticed. A small pain would pass through me. But I pushed it away. Love teaches you how to ignore your own fear. I told myself I was imagining things. I told myself I was lucky. That was not the hardest part. One night we sat on my couch. The window was open. I could hear rain. He rested his head on my shoulder. His breathing was slow. I felt calm. I felt safe. I remember thinking, if life stays like this, I will be happy. I did not understand how fragile that thought was. The first lie was small. It was almost gentle. He said he was working late. I believed him. I sent him a message that said, "Don't forget to eat." He did not answer. I stared at my phone. I felt stupid for caring so much. When he came home, he smelled like a perfume that was not mine. The smell was light, but it was there. It stayed in the air between us. My chest tightened. I wanted to ask. The question sat in my throat. I smiled instead. I would only realize the truth later. Days passed. The smell returned. The late nights returned. His eyes changed. He still touched me, but there was distance in it. His hands were warm, but his attention was cold. That difference hurt more than anger. I started watching him. Every movement, every word. Love turned me into a detective. I hated that version of myself. I hated the suspicion. But I could not stop. One afternoon, I used his phone to order food. A message appeared. Just one line. "I miss last night." My hands froze. The room felt smaller. The air felt heavy. I read the message again and again. The words did not change. I was waiting for them to change. He came out of the shower. He smiled at me. I held the phone. I felt like I was holding a knife. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw it. Instead, I asked, "Who is this?" My voice sounded calm. That scared me. He looked at the screen. His face went blank for 1 second, just 1 second. Then he laughed. He said it was a joke, a friend, nothing important. He kissed my forehead. He told me I worried too much. I nodded. I let him take the phone. I let the moment pass. I betrayed myself in that moment. That was not the hardest part. After that, I started shrinking. I spoke less. I laughed less. I watched him more. Every time he left, I felt a hole open inside me. Every time he returned, I felt relief and anger at the same time. I stopped asking questions. Silence felt safer than answers. I told myself love meant patience. I told myself love meant trust. But trust was already broken. I just refused to look at the pieces. I did not understand it then. The turning moment came on an ordinary Tuesday. The sky was gray. My office was quiet. My phone buzzed. It was a photo, not meant for me. I knew that immediately. It was him. He was smiling in a way I hadn't seen in months. His arm was around a woman I did not know. Her head rested on his chest. They looked easy. They looked real. They looked like us, but happier. My hands started shaking. I could hear my heart in my ears. The world did not stop. People kept typing. Phones kept ringing. But inside me, everything fell apart. I went to the bathroom. I locked the door. I sat on the floor. The tiles were cold. I pressed my back against the wall. I stared at the photo until my eyes burned. I did not cry at first. I felt empty, completely empty. That emptiness was worse than pain. I thought, this is what breaking feels like. I would only realize the truth later. When the tears came, they were quiet. My body shook, but no sound came out. I covered my mouth with my hand. I didn't want anyone to hear me. I didn't want the world to know I was ending. I saw everything clearly in that moment. Every late night, every turned phone, every soft lie. The truth stood in front of me, simple and cruel. He was living another life, and I was a place he visited when it was comfortable. That was the moment I understood. Love without honesty is not love. It's a performance. I had been clapping for a show that was never real. I washed my face. I returned to my desk. I finished my work. My hands moved on their own. Inside, I was screaming, but the outside world stayed normal. That contrast felt unreal. I went home and waited. When he entered, he smiled. He kissed my cheek. The photo burned in my mind. I looked at him and saw a stranger wearing a familiar face. I realized I did not know this man. Maybe I never did. I showed him the photo. I did not say a word. I just held my phone between us. The silence stretched. His eyes changed. The truth moved across his face slowly. He tried to speak. He stopped. He tried again. Words came out broken. Excuses, half sentences, empty sounds. I listened. I felt nothing. That scared me more than anger. I asked one question. How long? He told me. The number was small when he said it. It was huge when I heard it. Months, months of shared mornings, months of shared dinners, months of lies placed gently in my hands. I nodded. I sat down. I stared at the table. The wood grain looked sharp and clear. I focused on it to stay upright. I thought, this is the end of the person I was. That was not the hardest part. The hardest part was loving him while I knew the truth. Even in that moment, a part of me wanted to forgive him. A part of me wanted to erase the photo, to return to the quiet lie. That part of me was desperate and afraid. I saw how weak I could be. I saw how much I wanted comfort over dignity. That realization cut deeper than betrayal. I told him to leave. My voice was soft. He stared at me. He waited for me to change my mind. I did not. I could not. If I spoke again, I would beg him to stay. I knew it. He packed slowly. Each sound hurt. The zipper, the door, his footsteps in the hallway. When the door closed, the apartment felt huge. The silence was alive. It pressed against my ears. I sat on the floor. I looked at the empty chair where his jacket used to hang. I waited to feel relief. It did not come. Only grief came, heavy and endless. Days passed like that. I moved through them like a ghost. I went to work. I answered messages. I smiled when required. Inside, I replayed everything, every word, every touch. I searched for the moment I'd lost him. I did not understand it then. Slowly, a different feeling appeared. It was small at first, almost invisible. It was anger, but not at him, at myself, for accepting less than I deserved, for calling pain love, for staying quiet when my heart was screaming. That anger woke me up. I started taking long walks at night. The air was cold. It cleared my head. I watched people pass by. Everyone carried their own story, their own pain. I was not special in my suffering. That thought was strangely comforting. I began to see him clearly, not as a monster, not as a hero, just as a man who chose lies because they were easy. And I saw myself as a woman who chose silence because it felt safe. We were both human. That was the truth. One evening, I made coffee and sat by the window. The sunset was pale. The city was quiet. I felt a calm I had not felt in months. The pain was still there, but it was softer. It no longer controlled every breath. I realized he did not break me. He revealed the cracks that were already inside me. And now I could see them. I could touch them. I could begin to repair them. That was the turning I needed. I whispered his name once. It did not hurt the same way. It sounded like a memory, not a wound. I thanked the silence for teaching me what noise never could. I am still Jennifer. I am still 29. I still carry love inside me. But now it is quieter. It is careful. It listens to my fear instead of hiding it. I did not lose my heart. I found its true shape. Sometimes I think of him. The thought arrives and leaves like a passing cloud. I do not chase it. I do not fight it. I let it move through me. The apartment is mine again. My coffee tastes the same. The chair is empty, but it no longer feels haunted. It is just a chair. That simple truth feels like freedom. I sit by the window at night and watch the lights in other homes. Each light is a story. Each story is fragile. I hold my own story gently now. I protect it. The love that broke me also opened me. It showed me the cost of silence. It showed me the value of honesty, not as a lesson, just as a feeling I carry in my bones. I breathe in, I breathe out. The air is steady. My heart is steady. I am not finished. I am not ruined. I am simply changed. And in the quiet of my room, I feel like a glass that cracked but did not shatter, still holding light, still reflecting the world.